All right, sorry about that. A few technical difficulties. So can one or two people just let me know on the chat if you can hear me okay? Give me a yes. All right, awesome. Thank you, thank you. Make sure that you have your audio muted, your video off for the practice. That way it will keep me and my audio on the screen. Most important thing throughout our time is take care of yourself this afternoon, honor your body, whatever's going on for you, and make sure to make any adaptations. If you have props with you or something like props, like books, blankets, feel free to use them. I'll play and give you some options with those as well. I also will have my computer near me here, so if there's any technical difficulties or anything else that you want to chat in, I'll glance at that every once in a while. So one of the things that I was thinking about, actually yesterday, I watched a little clip that talked about Bill Gates actually, and how he, I want to actually watch the whole talk. He has a TED talk from 2015 talking about pandemics and how we're not really prepared for those. So it's interesting that 5 years later we're in this situation, and it made me think about perspective and just how in my life, whenever I get into tunnel vision and I close off to possibility, I'm just not seeing as much around me. And that has a certain level of consequence and also learning. So we're going to play a little bit with that in our practice. We're going to play with twists today for this idea of opening up perspective. So a couple of things. We're going to play with a chair twist. So if you do have a prop, this can be lovely for support. Sometimes there's a lot of overemphasis on hooking the elbow for the twist, but for a lot of people, this can be super deep. So I actually like the block to give me something at center so I can still have a deep twist and not over crank my spine. If you don't have a prop, you can do the same thing. The elbow can come to center as opposed to hooking over. 1 second. So again, just make sure that audio is muted on your end. Okay, great. From the twisting place, we're also going to play with an arm balance, so a side crow pose. And for this posture, lots of options. So this could be your side crow, could be right here, could be right there, just playing with the balance. Next evolution would be to draw the hands down to the ground here. Again, next layer could just be coming onto the tips of your toes. You can also have a little crash pad, so either your block or a blanket near to support the forehead if you are going to go over to the side. You can also play with a little tap dance, 1 foot, then maybe both feet. When you're in it, it's like low push-up arms, so everything is super strong towards center. And yeah, that's the pose. So remember, you don't have to get to that place. Every evolution in the posture is honorable, welcome, beautiful, and you can build a lot of strength there. Okay, so to get started, let's come up to a standing position. And stand with your feet wider here. So if you're using a mat forward, you might actually come to the whole width of your mat or even off of your mat a little bit there. Make any little fidgets with your shoulders, arms, head, neck. Take a moment to settle in. However long that takes, it might take more than a moment. Take a full deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale, let it go, little sound, sigh. And give yourself these opening moments to arrive and honor where you're at this afternoon, whatever is going on for you physically or in your mind. in your emotions. And with awareness, start to notice and cultivate your breath. Deepen your inhalation. Flow right into a diaphragmatic breath, alive, expansive, full. And if you use the ocean sounding breath, feel free to create contraction at the back of your throat. Invite that little hum. And taking time with every inhale, air flows into your lungs, creating a little expansion out of the belly. With the exhalation, as the belly draws inwards, air gets expelled, pushed out from the lungs, softening. So notice the symphony of your breath with every inhalation, opening, arising. With the exhalation, a little softening inwards. Stay with the presence of your own breath. Gently take your palms to your heart space. As you stay with deep breathing, set an intention for your practice. It might be around this idea of perspective, of seeing more clearly, seeing more angles. If that doesn't fully resonate with you, set an intention that really works for you today. So whatever it is that will help you. And to acknowledge this intention, each other's company, gently bow your head to your own heart. And gradually release your hands, take on light with your eyes. Inhale to circle sweep your arms all the way up to the sky. With your exhalation, bend your knees into a wider squat. Take your hands onto your thighs. Press your sitting bones back, collarbones broad, right into a cow stretch. Exhale to coil and round into a cat stretch. Moving with your breath. Inhale to angle, open. Exhale to coil and round. In breath to elongate. Exhale to round in. One more time, both directions here. When you're rounded, inhale to straighten your legs, rise arms to the sky. With the exhalation, bend again, staying in the wide squat, stay low. Inhale, just the arms lift this time. With your exhalation, lean over to the right side, one hand to belly, top arm up and over, fire through your obliques. Inhale through center, exhale, arc opposite side, left. Inner legs also getting a little activation here. Move side to side. One more time over to the left side. Honor your own rhythm and speed. With the inhale, as you rise through center, straighten your legs. Take a little break. Exhale, lower the arms down. Inhale again, arms rise to the sky. With exhale, sink into your legs, palms laying onto your thighs. Inhale to lengthen just a little bit through the spinal column. Exhale, spin and twist right, gentle motion. Keep the legs and hips steady. Inhale through middle. Exhale, opposite side. And continue to explore your motion here. A few more rounds, right and left. Final cycle to the left side at your own rhythm. With the inhale, as you come through center, use exhale to sink a little bit lower. Inhale to rise back up through center space. With the exhalation, bend your knees, sink down once more here, lower. Inhale to lift back up. So moving a few rounds, breath and motion to create some fire in the legs. And final cycle to sink down, pause here, hands return to your heart space for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, rise back up through center, optional open mouth, exhale, sound, sigh, hands release through middle space. And step up to the front edge of your mat. Feet more hip distance apart. With the inhale again, circle the arms high to the sky. Exhale, hinge and fold right into forward bend. Inhale to lengthen, halfway lift. Exhale, fold back down to the ground. Step back, hips high, right into downward facing dog. Relax your head in between your arms. Bend one knee at a time. Open through your mouth, your jaw. Make any movements, pedal your feet, bend your knees. Little exploration here. From there, gently pause. Activate through your down dog, fingers stretch forward, hips back. Heels can be off the ground, so deep bend in the knees, especially if your low back is rounding. With next inhale, roll forward, right into high plank pose, top of a push-up, whole body level, deep breath in. Exhale to lower, bend your elbows, come all the way onto the earth, uncurl your toes, legs heavy, squeeze your glutes, hands draw a little back. In breath to pull forward, then up, cobra pose. Exhale to fold down. Stay in this up and down motion or inhale. Next time you rise, pause and sustain here. Deep connected breathing. One more inhale. Exhale to fold back down. Curl your toes under. Either tabletop or knees lift for a bit more heat. Fire through your palms. In breath, reverse plank rise. Exhale, press back. Downward facing dog pose. Inhale to elongate. Right leg high to the sky. Three-legged dog. Exhale, coil in, knee to nose. Inhale, leg back up to the sky. With your exhalation, step your right foot through in between your hands. If you have blocks to support you, go ahead and utilize them. They can be helpful for tight hamstrings here. Create a little bit of movement with inhale, dip open to the sky. With the exhalation, round into your back body. Continue to move a few rounds. If this is too intense, back knee can always land. Same motion here. If you don't have blocks, no worries. Use the hands into little finger tents and play with the same movement. Final cycle as you come forward in either place. Pause, knee in line with the ankle, long spine, take a deep breath. Exhale, step up as many steps to the front edge of your mat, forward fold. Inhale to lift and lengthen, partway rise. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back behind. Inhale, rise up all the way to standing, circle the arms up to the sky. With your exhalation, hands fold to your heart, look down, gaze down, right knee floats up to hip height. Stabilize, sustain the balance. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower your foot down, hinge right at your hips, bow forward, forward fold. Inhale to lift and lengthen halfway up. With the exhalation, fold forward down to the ground. This time step back, high plank pose, top of a push-up. Stabilize here. Center of the body level, top of the shoulders dome a little bit to the sky. With your inhale, for more fire here, float your right foot about half an inch or so off the ground. A little hover for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lower your foot, bend your elbows, come all the way to the ground. Keep the legs strong, hands plant. Inhale, pull forward, then up, cobra. Sustain, 3 rounds of breath. Can always pulse instead of sustaining if that's better in your practice. Exhale to lower back down, curl the toes, tabletop or in breath, strong reverse plank lift. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog pose. Check in with your body, your breath, and notice even in down dog, this ability to look in a different way, different perspective, being upside down. With your inhale, left leg extends high to the sky, 3-legged down dog. Exhale to coil, knee to nose. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, step your foot through. In between your hands, take your time. Use props as needed. Bend your knee, sink into your front thigh. Open through your front body. So it's a little cow stretch action. Exhale to round back body, coil. Move with your breath. Next cycle, as you come forward, pause. Left knee in line with the ankle below. Long line of energy from your back foot to the top of your head. Deep breath. Exhale, take your time, step up front edge of your space, forward fold. Inhale to lift and lengthen halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back. With the inhalation, rise all the way to standing, gaze to the earth for balance, root into your right foot. Exhale, hands to heart. Lift your left knee for balance here. Deep connected breath. Exhale, lower your foot down, hinge right at your hips, forward fold. In breath to elongate halfway up, moving with your breath, your own rhythm. Exhale to fold back down to the ground. Step back, high plank pose, top of a push-up. Either cobra or this time move through low push-up, elbows no lower than 90. Inhale, forward for up dog. Squeeze your glutes, legs strong. Exhale, press back downward facing dog pose. With those vinyasa transitions, you can always take a cat-cow or lower down for cobra. You can also skip them altogether or explore the up dog variation, being mindful of the low spine. With your in breath, right leg rises to the sky, three-legged down dog. Exhale, coil, knee to nose, shift the weight slightly forward. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, move towards right elbow with your right knee. Doesn't have to touch, just moving that direction. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot through. In between your hands, set yourself up here. Inhale, rise up, torso and arms to the sky. Crescent lunge. Arms can go as wide as you need for shoulder support. For more fire, sink a little bit more into your front thigh. For less, back off the bend of your front knee. Deep, full breath. With exhale, lean your torso 45 degrees out in front. Either palms come to support on your right thigh or extend the arms like a wide V into wings. Stay with the breath. Deep, full inhalation. With your exhale, hands to your front thigh. Take a moment, step up to the front edge of your space. Inhale to straighten the legs, arms rise to the sky. With exhale, root into your right foot again. Exhale, hands through center, left knee rises to hip height. Take another breath here, lengthen your arms back up to the sky. With exhalation, spin, twist, rotate. Front hand to your front knee, arm back behind, or hand can come to your sacrum. Little balancing twist. With the inhalation, circle back up through center. Exhale, release, foot down, hinge and bow, forward fold. Inhale to lift, halfway rise. Exhale, bow back down to the ground. Step back, high plank pose. Move through your flow, your own rhythm here. Cobra an option. Up dog, cat cow. From downward facing dog pose. Inhale to extend, left leg high to the sky. Exhale to coil, knee to nose. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, go wide, left elbow or knee towards left elbow. Inhale, leg high. Exhale, step foot in between of your hands. Take your time, set yourself here. In breath to rise up, hip square, ribs extend with length, arms to the sky, crescent lunge pose. Stay connected with your breath. Check in what you're feeling in your body, what's strengthening, what's stretching through the posture. One more inhalation. With exhale, lean your torso forward 45 degrees. Palms can land onto your front thigh, or for more sensation, arms frame like a wide V. For even more heat, mindful of the lumbar, extend your arms to frame your head. So checking in where you're best served in your pose. One more inhale. Use the exhale to lower your hands onto your front thigh for stability. Deep breath. Exhale, step up. Front edge of your space, straighten through your legs. Inhale, circle the arms up to the sky. Gaze for balance support. Exhale, shift the weight to the left. Right knee floats. Hip height as the hands come to center. Inhale to rise, arms to the sky. With exhalation, spin, twist, rotate through your spine. Gentle motion, honoring your capacity for movement in this moment. With an inhalation, slowly rotate back up through center, arms to the sky, let it be a play. Exhale, lower your foot, hinge and fold right into forward bend. Inhale to lift and lengthen, partway rise. Exhale to fold back down to the ground. Step back, high plank pose. Top of a push-up, move through your own vinyasa here, honoring your rhythm, your body. Rejoining in downward facing dog pose. With your inhalation, expand your right leg up to the sky, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, go out wide towards your right elbow. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, this time twist, right elbow towards left elbow. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot through, in between your hands. Inhale to rise up through crescent lunge. Stabilize here. Deep breath. With your exhalation, start to bend into your back knee. Left knee lowers. Gradually begin to rotate towards the right side of your space. Again, if the back arm feels a little funky, take your hand to your low back or sacrum. That can help out with the right shoulder quite a bit. Inhale to return back up through center, arms to the sky. Exhale, plant your hands onto your front thigh, look out in front, or lean your torso 45 angle rather. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, step back up to the front edge of your mat. Straighten. Inhale to circle the arms, gaze to the earth for balance support. With exhale, right foot roots, left knee rises up for balance. Deep full breath. With exhalation, ankle to front thigh, figure four, sink to your own degree here. For more balance challenge, gaze to center or even to the sky. On an inhalation, gradually rise, front knee to balance. Exhale, lower, foot, hinge, fold, right into forward bend. Inhale to lengthen halfway up. With exhalation, fold back down to the ground. Step back right into high plank pose. Pause here this time in high plank. Stabilize to the center of your body. With an inhale, lift your left foot off of the ground half an inch or so, firing up. Deep full breath. Exhale, lower your foot down, shift everything to the left fingertips, either stack your feet or step your right foot forward for side plank pose, option to layer on the arm to the sky. Check in with your own place in the posture. One more deep breath. Exhale to lower, hand down to the earth, move through your own flow here. Option to always skip and come right into downward facing dog. In down dog, take a moment to check in with your body, your breath. What's happening in the texture of your mind? When we're able to tap into the present moment, this opportunity to often see more than that's available, more than meets the eye. And with your inhale, extend your left leg high to the sky. Exhale to coil in, knee to nose. Inhale, leg high. Exhale, go wide towards your left elbow. In breath, leg behind. Exhale, twist over towards the right elbow. Inhale, leg high. Exhale, take your time, step your left foot forward in between your hands. Inhale to rise up, torso and arms through crescent lunge. Stabilize your posture. With an out breath, gradually begin to bend through your back knee, your own level of sink. Slowly start to twist over to the left side. Utilize a deep breath to support your nervous system, to stay intact, relaxed, even as you create a little bit more heat through your system. Inhale to rotate back up through center. Exhale, hinge forward, both hands onto your front thigh. Take a moment, deep breath in. Use your exhalation, step up to the front edge of your space. In breath to circle the arms, gaze to the earth for balance. Exhale, shift, weight into your left foot, right knee rises like a lever. One deep breath here. With the exhale, ankle to front thigh, sink down, sink back, figure four pose. Relax your teeth, your tongue, noticing any unnecessary tension. With the inhale, rise back up through balance. Exhale to lower, foot down, hinge, and fold right into forward bend. Inhale to elongate halfway up. Exhale, fold back down to the ground. Step back right into high plank pose. Inhale, lift your right foot off of the earth for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, switch. Right foot comes off the ground for 3, 2, 1. One more breath as you settle both feet. On exhale, spin everything to the right side. Fire up through your fingertips. Center of the body level. Take any other posture options that serve you here to support your side plank pose. Concentrated deep breath. With an exhale, shift, high plank pose, move through your own rhythm here, exploring the motion of your body. And find yourself in downward facing dog pose. With your inhalation, expand your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, coil, knee to nose. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, go wide towards your right elbow. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, this time twist over towards your left elbow. Pause and sustain here. Hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, leg back up to the sky. Strong core. Exhale, step up, front edge of your mat. Take your time in breath to rise through crescent lunge. With exhalation, bend your knee, twist to the right side. Inhale to revolve back up through center. Exhale to lean forward onto your front thigh. Take a breath. Exhale, step up, front edge of your space. Right foot anchors. Inhale to expand arms to the sky. Exhale, bend into your left knee. Deep breath. With exhalation, ankle to front thigh, sink down, figure 4 here. Option to play with the arms, any variation that supports. Full in breath. Use your next inhale cycle to rise up through balance. Exhale, foot lowers, hinge and fold, forward bend. Inhale to elongate, halfway rise. Exhale to fold back down to the earth. Step back, high plank pose. Top of a push-up. Pause here for a moment. From there, gradually lift your right foot off of the ground, half an inch or so. Shift the weight more to your right fingertips and start to play. It's a little tap dance with the left fingertips. If it's available, let them rise and pause a little bit more for balance. One deep breath. Exhale to lower foot and hand. Move through your own transition here. Cobra, up dog, down dog. When you arrive at down dog, take a moment, pause. With your inhalation, expand your left leg up to the sky. Exhale to coil, knee to nose. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, go wide towards your elbow, left side. Inhale, leg high. Exhale, spin and twist. Left elbow, left knee towards right elbow. Pause and sustain for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, leg to the sky. Exhale, step your foot through in between your hands. Take your time. In breath to rise, up hip square, arms rise crescent. With the exhalation, bend your back knee. Start to rotate, twist to the left side. Inhale to return back up through center. Exhale, both palms onto your front thigh. Strong core, elongate from belly button to top of head. Deep breath. Exhale to step up, front edge of your space. Root into your right foot, gaze support. Inhale to lift. Exhale, right knee floats, hip height. With an exhale, ankle to front thigh, sink back, figure 4. Take any arm variation here. Stretch out through your shoulders. With inhale, rise back up through balance. Exhale, foot down, hinge and fold, forward bend. Breath in to elongate your spine. Exhale, fold back down, step high plank, top of a push-up, pause here, stabilize, scoop in the tail for low back support, core support. Lift your left foot half an inch off of the earth. Start to play a little tap dance. Right fingertips off the ground or to hover for a little bit of balance challenge. If you fall out, no big deal. Let it be playful. One more inhale. Exhale to lower foot hand. Move through your own vinyasa here, honoring your rhythm. down dog, or you always have the option for puppy stretch, child's pose, listening to your energy here. And from downward facing dog pose, take a full deep breath. Use your exhalation to step up to the front edge of your mat in forward bend. Seal your feet together, toes touched, heels can have a little bit of openness here. Inhale to lift and lengthen halfway up. With exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight right back behind. Inhale, arms rise up to the sky. Hands to heart center. With your exhale, twist over towards your right side. Elbow at center or hook over the right thigh if that's available and not over cranking your body. Hips stay squared, knees stay level. Use your block or prop here in between the thighs for a little bit more support. Inhale to rise back up through center, arms long. Take a moment. Exhale, bend your knees. Chair pose at center. Take a breath to lengthen here. With the exhalation, spin and twist opposite side. Either the elbow at center, somewhere on your thigh, at middle, or the hook. And again, seeing if going less far can actually free up more in your body. Knees level, hips level, deep breaths. And with your inhale, root and rise back up to the sky, arms long. Stay standing, exhale, open your arms wide. Take a moment to pause, to notice. So what shifts on your life path when you're open to seeing more angles around you, particularly more than just what's in front? And with the inhale here, circle the arms back up to the sky, take light with your eyes. Exhale, bend your knees, shift your weight back, land all the way into a squat here on the floor, mindful of your knees. Lift your heels as much as you need. Gradually, from the openness, hopefully, of your ribs and torso, twist over to the right side. Plant both of your hands down onto the ground. And again, this is the beautiful place to pause. You can build lots of strength. Otherwise, start to play. Shift the weight, lift higher on your heels onto the tips of the toes, exploring with side crow pose. Next evolution, lift one foot, then the other, both feet stack if you've lifted. Elbows strong, chaturanga, low push-up arms, shoulders stay buoyant. Playing a few more cycles here on this side. And gradually land here. Inhale to come through center. Exhale, play with the other side. Twist over, honoring any diversity that you're feeling in this side of your body. Hands plant, fire up through your finger pads, strong palms. And again, start to play. Lean your own degree here. If you're worried about crashing, use your blanket or block to support your head. Playing with your own balance here, mindful of your left shoulder if you're coming into the lifted version of the pose, staying buoyant, inner arms strong. Two more rounds of breath to play. And with an exhale, return back through center. Both hands support you back behind land. Your sitting bones onto the earth. Stretch your feet and legs out in front. Point your toes. Make any little micro movements to relax through your legs, knees. And from there, either keep the legs long, or if you need more low back support, bend your knees. Ensure any props that you need are towards the back edge of your mat. Inhale to lift and lengthen, spine long. Exhale, slowly begin to recline all the way down onto your space. Once you've landed onto the ground, keep your knees bent, feet onto the earth, and take your right ankle to your left thigh, taking supine pigeon or reclined figure four pose. This might be enough here, or for more, lift your left foot off the ground. You can also explore right hand through the window opening, left hand wraps behind your left hamstring, or on top of your left knee. Make any little micro movements. Soften through your eyelids, soften your breath a little. So this posture can release hip tension as well as stretch out through the glutes, the piriformis muscle, which is key when it gets tight. Sciatic nerve can be activated in discomfort. Low back can get tighter. Three more rounds of deep, dedicated breath here. And with an exhale, keep your ankle where it's at. Let go of your arms if they're wrapped. Gradually cross your right knee over your left knee. Left foot comes to the ground. With the left foot on the ground, move your hips and pelvis a little bit to the right side of your space. Keeping this, now start to twist your knees to the left. This is a little intense, can be. So if this is too much, simply uncross your legs and stack one knee on top of the other. Keep your right shoulder heavy towards your mat. Gentle rotation here. Or it might actually not feel so gentle. Could be more intense. And use an inhaling breath to lift. Back up through center, both feet on the ground. If your hips and pelvis have moved, readjust them to center space. Make any adjustments with your torso, shoulder, and from there, cross your left ankle to your right thigh. Start to explore this side of supine pigeon, figure four. Any options that you need to get enough stretch here. Even though the breath can soften, invite it to still be present. And check in with your attention. So even the act of looking inwards can be quite radical in this invitation to seeing more, looking just beyond of what's visible. Two more rounds of full cycles of inhale and exhale. And gradually with your out breath, release your hands if they're laced, lower your right foot down, left knee crosses the right. Use your right foot to create a little lift of your hips and pelvis. Move them to the left side, keeping that. Now start to twist over to the right. Arms come to T or cactus position as best you can. Left shoulder heavy towards your mat. And remember, if this is way too intense, uncross the knees, stack one on top of the other. You can also place a prop underneath of your lower twisted knee to create more support. Three more rounds of soft breaths here. And use your inhale to mindfully rise back up through center space. Readjust your feet, hips and pelvis to neutral. With your feet grounded, arms by the side of your body, shoulders pressed down a little bit. Inhale to lightly lift your hips and pelvis to the sky. Squeeze your glutes for bridge pose. Stay here with the arms or scooch one shoulder under, then the other shoulder. Option to interlace your hands if that's supportive. Create length for your spinal column. If you have a block or a book handy, you can also take the supported bridge, prop under sacrum, if you're looking for a more restful version. If you're in the active bridge pose, one more deep inhalation. If you're in supported bridge, know that you can stay there as long as you want. With exhale, lower down hips and pelvis to the ground. Unlace the fingers, shoulders, relax. Take a moment. And from here, if you're on the earth, use a soft breath to bring your knees into center and start to listen to the inner freedom and wisdom of your own body and breath and practice. And take these next 2 minutes or so to create a little closing ritual for yourself. Anything else that would make your practice feel complete. And if you find that added time in the resting space is what will nourish you most, give yourself that permission to begin the journey towards the final pose of rest. And if you're still in your own flow, take the next 10 or so cycles of slow breath to begin your way towards the resting pose. If you're already in the resting place, get comfortable, cover up with any layers or blankets. If you have a prop for your eyes, go ahead and cover that as well. Ensuring you're in deep comfort here. As you settle into the support of the ground, allow your whole body to be at ease. Let go of any tension at the tops of your feet. Relax through your hamstrings, abdominal muscles, and ribs. Let go of any tension. Allow your palms and forearms to be spacious. Shoulders, mouth, jaw relaxed. And your eyelids and forehead spacious. Full permission to be here and receive your practice. I'll guide you out in a few minutes. And very slowly become more aware of your own body as you rest. With your breath present, take your time here as you allow for a few waking motions, fingers and toes, head, neck, any other movements that help you out here. Knowing that if you need a little bit of added time to rest and that's available for you, go ahead and stay put. And with an inhalation, knees rise to center space, roll over to either side in a fetal pose. Pause there for a brief moment. From this place of gratitude for yourself, press one hand to the ground, rise back up. Take a comfortable seat, spine long. Feel free to use a prop. Eyes soft or closed. The palms either connect at heart center or one hand flattens at the heart and the other hand on top of that. And take a moment in this space to acknowledge anything that you're aware of in this moment, anything that shifted in your body or your mind, your breath. And to affirm your own intention for showing up, each other's company here, and this ability that we all have to see more than what's in front, to have perspective, to see behind us, to the side, to learn, to grow. Gently bow your head to your own heart. Celebrating your wisdom, your strength, your dedication. Namaste. And take your time to return back to your day. If you have any questions, comments, I'll be on the chat for a few more moments. And all of the links for next week's classes are up on our website, recreation.uw.edu. Feel free to check that out. Take care.
Thank you.